Ordinary Average Guy podcast show. Hey everybody, it's the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show coming at you, previously recorded from the Buxty Hootie Studios. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. How was your Labor Day weekend? Mine was good. No complaints. Went up to the north woods of Wisconsin. Loaded up the old family truckster and went up north. And for the most part, didn't do a whole lot. Just good old R&R, rest and relaxation, bonfires. Had a couple cold ones. Went to an iron mine. An old iron mine. That was pretty cool. I would recommend, if you're ever up in Iron Mountain, Michigan, to go to the Iron Mountain Iron Mine. I would recommend it. Interesting, very interesting, and quite the history lesson on how they did things years ago. Poor guys, poor bastards, working hard, working for a living. But yeah, we also Labor Day weekend. You want to hear a funny Labor Days? Not many people in the world have a funny Labor Day story, but this guy does. I probably a story that really shows how dumb a man can be, but I never really truly understood what the hell Labor Day was. Never really understood it. Never really knew what labor meant, other than like a woman going through labor. I don't know. It's just a word that we never used. Labor. And yeah, I was older than I should have been when I finally realized what Labor Day was. But how I found out is I had a buddy, still do, good friend of mine, who is a veteran. Right? So there's Memorial Day, there's Veterans Day, and I just kind of always assumed that Labor Day was just, another long weekend to celebrate the men and women, the true heroes. I just assumed that. I didn't really know exactly what a labor was in, the military, but I just assumed that that's what it was for. Anyway, I have a friend who is a veteran in the Marines. He's a Marine. He's a tough SOB, legit. And we lived in the same neighborhood at this time. I was young, but we lived in the same neighborhood at the time. And I texted him and I said, "Hey, do you want to get some food?" He likes Mexican food, and there's a Mexican restaurant, authentic Mexican. None of this Taco Bell stuff. I mean, this was authentic Mexican. And here's a little joke. I'll give it to you for free. When you go to an authentic Mexican restaurant, the people you're with always say, "Can I drink the water?" You get it? Because when you go to Mexico, you shouldn't drink the water. So when you go to an authentic restaurant that's Mexican, you'd be like, "Can I drink the water? Should I not drink the water here?" It's funny because the restaurant's in America. It's the same water that they're drinking at the Hardee's across the street. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. It's an hilarious joke. Anyway, so he said, sure. So we went to, I don't know what the hell it was called. And we ate. And I said, "This is on me. I'm picking up the tab. Thank you for your service." That's what I said. Hand to God, I'm picking up the tab. Thank you for your service. And he said, "Well, thanks for buying lunch, but Labor Day has nothing to do with me." And I literally was dumbfounded. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Labor Day is for people like you, the laborers. I should be buying you lunch." By the time that all came to fruition, the money was already spent. And now I truly know what Labor Day is. And again, I'm probably the only idiot, but I never really truly knew. And I remember growing up asking people, like, what is Labor Day? And no one really ever could tell me. And now it's kind of like, it seems like it's common knowledge. But I don't know. Same like with Arbor Day. Now, obviously, I know what Arbor Day is. But like the word arbor, I don't, is that arborer? I don't know what that means either. Like, I have no idea what that means. And, you know, and all something else. I'm going to open up. I'm going to open up to you people. Do you know what else is something that I do not know? Is the Carolina Panthers. I couldn't tell you if that's North Carolina or South Carolina. Couldn't tell you. They've been in the league now since, 94, 95? And I could not tell you what state they're actually from. The reason I'm bringing that up is because my son recently he has a collection of all the football helmets of all the teams in the NFL. And tonight we were going through all the helmets, teaching him all the teams and cities that they are from. And, you know, there's some teams that are like the Arizona Cardinals, for example. They're the Arizona Cardinals, right? The state of Arizona. The Minnesota Vikings is the state of Minnesota. The Tennessee Titans is the state. Are those the only ones? Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, Arizona Cardinals. I think those are the only 3 that have the state as the name of the team. Minnesota, all of their teams are like that. The Minnesota Wild, the Minnesota Twins, the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? Arizona, though, the Phoenix Suns. Years ago, the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, were called the Phoenix Cardinals. I want to say that's true. I couldn't tell you. But I believe those are the only 3 NFL teams that have the state as the name. Now, New England, what came up was, well, I take that all back. There's a 4th, the Carolina Panthers. But I'm putting that on the sideline for a moment. New England Patriots, that came up. And my 6-year-old son was like, what? New England? He never heard of that before. And I think he thought like England, like across the pond. And I had to explain to him about the New England, territory of Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, I want to say is in New England. Rhode Island, I want to say is in New England. That New England, I'm always a fan of that territory, that place on the map. Also, just like the style, New England, I'm a big New England fan. Not the Patriots, but like I've never been there. I want to go. New England. I want to do a New England trip. Who's with me? Who wants to go to New England, huh? Oh, it's going to be so much fun. We'll look at the leaves. We'll go to Nantucket, right? Once was a man from Nantucket, right? You know the rest. You know the second line. You know the second line of that. Don't tell me you don't, you pervert. Anyway, but the Carolina Panthers gave up, and I just remember thinking in my head, like, I have no freaking clue where they're actually from. I want to say Raleigh. I want to say that they're in Raleigh, and I want to say that Raleigh's in North Carolina. I couldn't tell you. And I'm talking to a guy at work today who's actually moving to, I want to say South Carolina. Let's look this up. What? The Carolina Panthers. So my question is when it comes to a team, why do some teams, why are they all like, no, screw the city. We're naming ourselves after the state. And then there's other teams that are like, no, 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 screw the state. We're proud of our. Oh my God, I was way off, dude. Charlotte. Duh. Oh my God, that is so dumb. How did I not know that? Charlotte, North Carolina. Gosh, what an idiot. Anyway, and they were founded in 1993. Charlotte, North Carolina. But since we're on the topic, where is Raleigh? Oh, that's gotta be South Carolina, huh? Son of a bitch, North Carolina, sure shit. What does South Carolina have going for it? I don't think South Carolina has anything going for it. Let's see here once. See if South Carolina. Does South Carolina have anything going for it? It looks like all the cool cities are in North Carolina. Why would anyone in their right mind go to South Carolina?
I think South Carolina has quite a bit going for it. For starters, Charleston is a super charming city with a rich history, beautiful architecture, great food, and lovely beaches. Myrtle Beach is also a big draw for those who love the coastal vibe and family-friendly attractions. Plus, the state's got great golf courses, some amazing southern cuisine, and a warm climate. So there are definitely some cool reasons to visit.
Okay, sorry. I guess I'm an idiot and I didn't realize how cool South Carolina was.
No worries at all. It's totally understandable to have a different perspective. Every place has its own unique charm, and there's always something new to discover. If you ever do decide to visit, I'm sure you'll find something you love about it.
Dude, she's cool, huh? It's a cool voice. I can see how people fall in love with their chat GPTs. I can see it. You got a voice like that saying all these nice things to you all the time? Rather than get your ass off the couch and fucking scrub those toilets. I can definitely see why people would want a romance with ChatGPT. That's something. I've seen memes about that where it's just like, you just like as soon as you're like relax, as soon as you put your feet up, as soon as you just take a chill pill, there's like she knows, and it's just like, if you have time to clean, if you have time to sit, you have time to clean. That's the motto around here. Anyway, I was gonna frickin' talk about something and I totally. New England, Carolina. We had a big old chat about Carolina. Labor Day, Iron Mountain, Iron Mine. Gosh darn it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We closed up the pool. We winterized it. It was, we had a great weekend this past weekend. We weren't even home to enjoy it. The pool, for example, and the weather forecast looks like it's going to be it's not going to be overly warm. A diehard would probably keep it open yet and get that heater going. But I'm just, beat trying to fight that pool all summer. So I don't feel comfortable closing or opening it. So I have a guy that comes over and does it. And, he came over today and put the cover on and winterized it. And it's almost like a relief, kind of like a burden is off my shoulders. Like I don't have to worry about shocking it, vacuuming it, getting the leaves out of there, and it's just like, backwashing it, rinsing. I mean, there's a lot of shit to pools, man. It's just like ridiculous. And it's just fantastic to realize I don't have to worry about it anymore for a while. I mean, the fall is in the air. There's leaves changing. We saw a couple leaves changing up north already. So that's I mean, like I said, I'm an autumn guy. I'm an autumn guy, dude. So I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm stoked. I got big plans this winter. big plans. I'm going to do a lot of stuff out in that garage. I got a lot of plans for my little wood shop area. And I also, got to get back. And I mean, I'm like a broken record talking about the stupid healthy living bullshit. I mean, but what pisses me off is that since April, since I won that competition, I haven't really done anything. Now, granted, I haven't really gone off the rails per se, but I haven't kept up with it. Maintaining, maybe, I don't know. I haven't really stepped on the scale either. But it's like, dude, you should have just stuck with it, right? Because April to May to June to July to August, that's 4 months that have gone by where I could have been killing it, crushing it. And 4 months, healthy living in 4 months, when you already have that going for you, man, I could be one lean, mean SOB right now. And, regrets, like the song, regrets. Granted, he doesn't have any regrets in the song, where I have lots of regrets. So many regrets. A guy like me, you look at me and you're smoking hot wife, right? Freaking smoke show, 3 cute kids. But you do look back like, gosh darn it, if I just would have stuck with something, so-and-so, But whatever. That's in the past, right? The past is the past. But there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can just wake up and go forward. And that's what I choose to do. How about that? Nice uplifting podcast for y'all. If you're down in the dumps, just remember that tomorrow's another day. It's not that hard. And you always have ChatGPT there to help you. Now, granted, I did see a nasty story about how ChatGPT... Well, that's a sad story, but Google ChatGPT teenage kid and you'll see the story. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Been trying not to use it as much. You don't want to. You still want to keep your brain cells around a little bit, right? So, I just go on there once in a while and try to, if I need to. I definitely have not use it as much as I have in the past, but I'm so pissed. I had something awesome that I was going to talk about and I totally blanked on it. I don't remember. But I actually am pretty psyched here because I had a fair amount of emails and text messages and all that shit. So let's get right into it, huh? Shall we? Should we just get right into it? If you have, again, the big part of the show here that I get excited about is the emails and messages that I get from the 10s and 10s, right? That's the core of the show. So if you would like to find me on the Facebook, it is the Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show. And there you can drop me messages, you can like stuff, whatever. Then you can also, if you're more old school, like yours truly, you can go on the email and you can send me a message that way on an email. It is, the frick is it? J-Kenn OAG at Outlook.com. I literally am blanking. I think I'm literally losing my mind. You ever think like that? Like, I think I'm literally like J-Kenn at OAG at Outlook.com. I have no idea. Like, like short-term memory loss, right? You remember stuff that happened years and years ago, but all of a sudden, like, you don't have short-term memory. Is that a thing? Can anything come from that? Is that a sign of getting older? I have just been feeling so old lately, and I know I'm not like an old guy by any means, but I talked about this a couple episodes ago, where it's like this new generation coming into the workforce, the 20-year-olds, the 21-year-olds, they I finally feel like I cannot talk to these people. Like, I got nothing against them. I like them. They're fun people. They're great people. But like, it's just like, there's a kid I work with, right? He's a good kid. He's a good kid. It reminds me of myself when I was his age, you know what I'm saying? But he's like a whiz with the computer. Like, my computer skills have just like gone away. Like, I was excited. I was excited when I was the Excel guy, the Excel spreadsheet. Like, everyone was just amazed at how good I was with Excel spreadsheets. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even hitting the tip of the iceberg with Excel. I mean, I could just copy and paste some stuff, make some quick equations, and color code stuff. Like, my wife to this day, she just is like in awe of what I can do with Excel. And I can't even do that much with it. But there's a lot of people that were like, yeah, you're good at Excel, right? And I'm like, yeah, not too bad. And I would help them out. Now, like, this guy at work, he has a mouse. He just bought a brand new mouse, a mouse for your computer. And it literally has, I want to say, 12 different buttons on the mouse. And back in my day, I've seen a 3-button mouse. I've seen a 3-button mouse, but I'm usually a 2-button mouse kind of guy. That's usually that's what I'm used to. It's makes sense. You got your left clicker and you got your right clicker, right? This mouse has, I want to say, 12 different buttons, and they're programmable. So you can program a button. Like, if there's a common thing you do quite a bit, you can program a button to do it. And he's telling me about this, and I'm like, dude, how are you going to remember, like, what button does what? And he's like, oh, no, I just know, and he knows how to program this thing. And like I said, this guy, I don't think is like a computer whiz, quote unquote. Like, he's not an IT guy by any means. You know what I mean? He's just a good old boy. But it's just like when you're a young 20-year-old kid, you just kind of just like know. You know what I mean? And I thought that I could get older and just stay with it. But I don't think it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, you just get older and you just don't know how things work. And time just passes by. Like, I was always amazed, like, when my parents or grandparents, or, older people, they're like, they can't work the remote control. You know what I mean? It's like, well, as time goes by, you should just stay up to speed with things. And next thing you know, you're 80 years old and you can work the remote control just fine because you're always staying up to speed with it. That's what my old thought process was. And now I realize that that's not possible. Like, all of a sudden, something happens and everything is just changed. And you, overnight, you're just left in the dust. And that's how I feel right now. That's the question. That's the question for the next show. When do you, are you experiencing what I'm experiencing? This is a question that would probably be for anyone in their mid-30s and older. Or if you are older, no, I mean, I want that to come off the wrong way. My God, I don't want to, hurt your feelings. But if you are an older age, let's say 55 or older, maybe. No. Maybe like 45 or older. Well, whatever. I mean, whatever you think. And you've already experienced what I'm experiencing right now. Talk about how old you were when you experienced it, give or take a couple years, and let me know, like, what you did. And I would also be curious if you just never experienced it. Because there's some people that just know this stuff, and time doesn't pass them by. Like everyone that works in an IT department. You know what I mean? Like they just, oh man, it's so crazy. Like at work, I don't know what it was. Oh, I tried to link my personal calendar to my work email, right? Which is like not against the rules or anything. Like they're like, yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, well, how do you do it? Because I remember doing it. I remember doing it like 5 years ago. And I had to read, I don't know why, but I got a new computer. And I had to redo all this stuff. And I was like, well, I want to link my wife and myself have a joint email, right? And we have a family calendar on there. And I wanted to link it up to my work calendar so I could see if there was ever any overlap. And I could not figure it. I just couldn't do it. Like, I just had no idea. And I was asking ChatGPT, and I was Googling it, and I was YouTubing it. And like I was watching these videos, and I was just like, dude. And eventually I just went to the IT department. I'm just like, hey, I want to put this calendar on this computer so I can see if there's any overlap. They're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's just like click, 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 click. And I was like, there you go, man. And I'm like, oh, that's like, and it looked easy, I guess. And I just was so afraid. I'm like, I have to look like an idiot. I have to look like a moron. And, it is what it is. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I wanted not to ever go through that. And it's happening. And now I got my kids, my own, 6, 4, and 3. And like, not that we try not to let them go on electronics too much yet. But like, even the other day, like my son has it's a Kindle technically or something, but there's games on there you can play, and so whatever. On a long trip we got it for him when we went to Tennessee, and then we're like, oh well, you can play with it once in a while for whatever, half an hour here and there. And he couldn't do something, and he brought it over to me. He's asking my help on it, and I just like, oh, I think I locked out because we had like a timer on there. But my wife was like, it's fine, just turn the timer off. He can stay on it a little longer. And for the life, I couldn't. I was like, I don't know how to do it. I couldn't figure it out. Stupid idiot. Talked about that enough, but I am curious. That is a good question. Yes, J-Kenn, that is a good question. I would love to know what, if you've gone through that, and how it affected you, if you just went with it, or if you're like, had a nervous breakdown. All right, let's do some messages and some emails. We have an email here from Ben, our good buddy Ben, friend of the show. It's one of those "what's the deal" messages. He says, "Hello, J-Kenn." He goes, "What's the deal? What's the deal with the wood and lumber industry being a bunch of liars?" It's not a good Jerry Seinfeld impression at all. I apologize to Jerry and his family. What's the deal with the wood and lumber industry being a bunch of liars? Ooh, shots fired. Why is a 2x4 not 2 inches by 4 inches? Why is a 1x8 not 1 inch by 8 inches? Who came up with this idea? It's a bunch of F-word nonsense. Ben. You know what? That's a common. And you are asking the right guy, because I know the answer to that question. Because I'm a woodworker. I know the answer to that question. Are they right? Are they wrong? I don't know. It's up to you. But yes, a 2x4 technically is 1.5 by 3.5 inches. 2x6, for example, I want to say is 1.5 by, I want to say 5.5 inches, right? There's charts out there that'll tell you what the actual dimensions are of dimensional lumber. Dimensional lumber is what we call it. Just like a 3/4 inch piece of plywood is probably not 3/4 of an inch. A lot of times it's a little less usually. That one I don't really know why they can't get that one on the nuts. I don't know. But the 2x4, the reason it is not a true 2x4 is because by the time so when you cut down a tree and you cut up the wood, okay, and you cut up the 2x4s, at that time it is a true 2 inches by 4 inches. Okay, they cut them up to be 2x4, so that's why it's called a 2x4. The reason it's not actually a 2x4 by the time you get it is because it gets planed down. Now, you go to Menards or Home Depot and you're like, well, why the hell did they spend the time planing it down? Because it looks like a goddamn banana. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm right. I'm correct. I mean, it's crazy. But they do take the time to plane them down. So what that means is to get them nice and straight and flat. Okay, so they take, it takes the bows and everything else. So by the time they're done milling it down with plane it and rip it, then when it's all said and done, you have a 2x4. Okay. The reason I believe, and then a 2x4 just sounds better than can you give me a 1.5 by 3.5 inch? Sure. I need a 1.5 by 3.5 incher. It's just 1.5 by a 3.5er. It just doesn't sound good. It's not marketable. 2x4. It just sounds a lot better. The reason why they're never actually straight and stuff is because I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but I believe they're kiln dried and everything. It's just that, look, I mean, the fucking wood's sitting outside usually half the time, getting in the elements. And then they get soaking wet and then they dry out. And wood is it moves quite a bit. Wood is very, wood movement is what it's called. And so that's why when you're a woodworker like me, you want, prefer to get kiln dried wood. But even then, when you bring it back to your shop, you want to let it acclimate to your shop because it's prone to move. For example, when I buy wood, like hardwood, giggity. But when I buy hardwood from the, my supplier, like an inch, like if it's an inch thick, it is an inch thick. Like it's legit. Like in theory, like if I bought a 2x4, it'd be a 2 inches by 4 inches. Because I'm the one that's usually milling it down, That's called rough. I think rough sawn or rough cut or whatever would be the terminology. So I buy rough sawn. I should probably I should catch up on my terminology if I'm gonna be one of these woodworking people. But it's rough cut wood or whatever. So it's. Does that answer your question? I hope so. Makes sense to me. So. But yeah, thank you for asking the question. I'm a wealth of knowledge. I'm a wealth of knowledge. Unless when it comes to the Carolinas, I don't know shit about the Carolinas. We have a message here from Paul. I want to say that this is a first time. I swear to God, I just saw a ghost in my basement. I swear to God. I just saw a ghost in my basement. Out of the corner of my eye. But, because I thought it was my wife in the mirror. And it wasn't. And now I feel like there's something behind me. And now I got goosebumps. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. But, yeah, it is what it is. Too bad I'm not live streaming. That'd be pretty cool. get a ghost on the podcast. Then I would get some followers. Then I get some followers for sure. Paul says, just listen to episode 2. Go with screen printing over the Cricut. Way better quality. I'd, as in Paul, would take 2 large shirts for sure if you get some made. Yeah, definitely. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That's on my winter to-do list. As on my winter to-do list because I'm busy at work right now. In the winter, like I said, I got a big to-do list to do in winter because it's not my career isn't as taxing in the winter. Guy can has a little bit more me time, if you will. So, but that is on my. But yes, I agree with you. Screen printing is definitely going to be the way we go with that, and I want to come up with some more, things or whatever. So, we have the sauce. The sauce is back here. First email this season, I believe, and he is answering last week's question about how much money. When is it like, okay, I heard something interesting today. Now, I don't want to be political, but there is a podcast I listen to once in a while. The guy's name is Chris Cuomo, okay? He is the brother of the Andrew Cuomo, I want to say, the guy that ran for mayor. He was the governor of New York State, right, during the whole COVID thing. And then I don't know what happened, but he I don't know, he's banging his mistress or something like that. I don't know. Short story long, he I don't know nothing about the guy. Chris Cuomo is the guy that's on. He was like on CNN or whatever. Now he's on a station called News Nation, which is like legit down the middle, kind of, well, whatever, J-Kenn, just shut up and get to your point. Okay, fine. He's got a podcast. Is he left-leaning? Yes. He is. He's probably left-leaning, but he is not a Democrat, nor is he a Republican. He is a true independent, and he hates the party systems. But one of the things he was talking about today on the episode that I listened to was kind of this question. It was very interesting. He's like, when you have $50,000 and you get $20,000, like just, from something, if you go from 50 to 70, for example, that is a huge difference. You know what I mean? Like if you're living off of $50,000 a year and now you're living off of 70, like that's a big difference, right? Or if you're at 100 and now you're at 150, like that's life changing. You follow what I'm saying here? And it was interesting because I would like to see if there's a study out there. He was talking about that there's been studies have been done. I've never seen them. I would like to get my hands on them because they talk about how, if you have $20 million and all of a sudden you get another 20 and now you have 40 million, like it doesn't change. Like you get to a point where, there is a thing as like, yeah, I have enough money. Like if you why am I having such a hard time saying this? But you get to a point where you have enough money, right? So like if you have $100 million and now you get another $100 million, you have $200 million, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like you get to a point where you just have enough money. Like in these goddamn sports athletes, right? It's like, oh, I need more money. It's like, you have enough money. If I was a professional athlete and I was really, really, really good, like amazing, I'm telling you the truth. I would be making a good chunk of money. Don't get me wrong. But I would not need to be the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid non-quarterback, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, give me enough money that I don't got to worry about shit the rest of my life. But then take that money and surround me with other fantastic players and let's win some ships, right? That's what it's all about. Winning some championships, bringing the Lombardi back to Titletown, right, Dad? Am I wrong, Dad? So it's like that's the study, right? So anyway, that was just interesting that he was saying that because that's kind of what I was getting at with my question. Like but mine was a little different where it's like, what's a dollar amount where you're still a cool dude and then you get that extra dollar, now all of a sudden you turn into a raging prick. All right, let's see what the sauce says here. The amount of doll hairs, in quotes, hilarious, I believe you need is $1 million. That's what he says, $1 million. You were spot on. Now I'm going with the situation of winning the money. Okay, winning the money. You should be able to buy a very nice, if not dream house, for $500,000 to $600,000. I would say that's definitely there's a house that went for sale in my neighbor. No, I do not want this to. This isn't. I'm not even talking about it. It's gonna make me sound like an arrogant prick. Because I'm not living in the house, but there's this house that's down the road from me that just went up for sale, and it's going for like $720,000. And I was just like, holy effing S-word. That's a lot of money. And it's a brand new house, and they only lived there for like a year. Now they're still, I think it was one of those deals. You live there for 2 years, you don't have to pay taxes on it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, dude? Yeah, Dad. Anyway, they're selling it for $720K. I swear to God, I think that's what it is. And I'm just like, I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom owing that much money to the bank. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even. And I'll be honest with you. I don't even like the house. It's got a 2-car garage. Now, a guy like me needs a 3-car garage. But the reason I say that so like that is because in our stupid neighborhood, you can't have a shed, right? You can't have a back shed, but you can have a big-ass garage. You just can't have a back shed. So I need, and I have a 2-car garage. Half of my garage is, my old lady parks in it. And then my other half, I would love to have a 3rd car. But it's like a deeper garage too. So it works for me. I'm just saying is that it's a small ass garage. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of guy that needs a nice big ass garage. He's got a tiny garage. And his front yard is a hill. Like it's like this big old ski hill. Cutting grass got to be a bitch. And they're just trying to sell it for $720K. Just seems like a lot of money to me. But it is a nice house, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it's somebody's, it's just not mine, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm getting at, short story long, again, is that I can't even fathom owing that much money to somebody. Like, Jesus, that's insane. But I would definitely say for $500,000 to $600,000, you should definitely be able to buy a really nice, kick-ass, phenomenal house. Definitely. I didn't even, I like my house, and I didn't even spend close to that dollar amount. You know what I'm saying? I think you can still pull it off. This market, though, my God, this market is just something else, right? Anyway, before I went off my rant, he goes, a brand new luxury vehicle for $100,000. Yeah, geez, the price of vehicles, am I right? Oh my God. So we are high end in $700K. That still leaves, let's say, $100K to go on vacations for a while. Invest $100K. Then the last $100K spend on something you love. You can't take it with you when you are dead. Bury me with my money. That's a 90s video game quote. You still have to work, but you should be able to do something you love and not worry about the pay. You would still have your monthly living expenses and have a job, but That way you don't become those rich, arrogant, name my kids dumbass names kind of people. Okay, I gotta read that last sentence again. That was funny. But that way you don't become one of those rich, arrogant, name my kids dumbass names kind of people. I love that. What is the deal? Like, why are people naming their kids stupid names? Freaking hate it. What happened to good old Bill and Fred? You know, just normal names. So that okay, we got an email here. $1 million. 1 million. All right, sounds good. I think I was at 2-3 million. Was where I was thinking. Here we have another message. This is from Mel. It's titled Vacation. She goes to me and she says, I have a bone to pick with you with your average self, quote unquote. Ooh. All right. Let's get feisty. I don't have a lot of PTO. So, okay. Yes. Last week, she was talking about, I don't want to use a lot of PTO to go to Vegas. And I did my whole like, screw the man, use that PTO. But I see where she's coming from. She doesn't have a lot of PTO to begin with. So I apologize. I apologize. You don't have a lot of PTO. I don't have a lot of PTO, so I have to so I have it stretched thin between my already planned vacations. Ooh, look at you and all these planned vacations you're going on. Ooh, fancy. She goes, you must be more than average and get lots of PTO. Oh, well, you must be more than average and going on all these planned vacations, plural. I don't know. I do. I have enough. I got a couple, I don't know. I got quite a few weeks vacation. Thing is, I can't ever use it. You know what I mean? It sucks. Can't use it. I'm just too important that I can't use it because otherwise the plates would just fall apart. Oh, she's got another sentence here. I'll let you make this up by buying me a drink in Vegas. Yes. Dude, I'm dead serious. I'm in. I would go to Vegas. It's been a while since I've been there, man. I'd gladly. She has she's got a PS here. Sorry, Mel. She got a PS here. Money. I agree with the $1 to $2 million. Nice amount for spending and still making sure you can keep earning to keep busy after. Definitely. Okay. I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. $1 million, $2 million. That's enough. Where it's like, and the thing is remember that movie Blank Check? In the 90s when the kid got that check and he put $1 million in it and the bank gave him the money and then he was just buying all this stuff. Remember he was riding in the back of that limo and he was eating that like big, huge it was like a 20-gallon pail. I don't know what a frick it was, but it was a lot of ice cream. And, and then, what else? He just did all this cool stuff. Blank Check. Anyway, like I realized you can't do that for $1 million. Like the shit he did, like you can't do all that for $1 million. You know what I mean? I'm not an idiot. I wasn't born yesterday, Disney. But what I'm getting at is if you have $1 million, like you can blow it. Like it's possible to blow it. Like what I'm saying is if you have like the 40 million, like I was talking about before, like you can't blow that. I don't think. You can't. I don't think you could. I don't think you could blow it. Unless you buy, like, I don't even know, like an island or something. I don't know. But, like, you can't. It's going to be, if you're just still trying to, and I'm saying, what I'm getting at is the $1 to $2 million, like, you can still blow it. Like, as soon as that nose touches cocaine, that money's gone. You know what I'm saying? From what I've heard. We have an email here from a new listener. Interesting. Okay, we have a brand new email here from a gentleman. Email from Dick Fitzwell. Dick Fitzwell. All right, let's see what he says here. Hey, Brav. Hey, Brav. I stumbled across this show searching for interviews of my great uncle, Nigel. Oh, that's season 1. Nigel Lennox. We had Nigel Lennox on the show. This is cool. So Dick Fitzwell is the great nephew of Nigel. Okay, let's see what he says here. He must really fancy you, Brav. This was the only interview he has ever done. That's very interesting. The bloke that did the interviewing sounds like a real wanker, though, Brav. Yes, that was Josh that did that interview, and he could use some practice. All right, he continues to say, let me get straight away with it. Charcoal in a pit is the only proper way to cook anything, really. Okay, all right. That was a question from a couple weeks ago. Charcoal in a pit is what he... Charcoal in a pit? Okay, that must be what they call grills in England. Oh, look at this. I also wrote you this poem inspired by your songwriting last episode. Oh, interesting. Last episode, I was trying to write a song. It was about a guy who was kind of like down on his luck, and he was, how did that go? He was living on the road, but now he was like kind of living in the basement or whatever. So, he wrote this poem, and I'm going to read it to you here. It's called Sanctuary Below by Dick Fitzwell. In cracked old boots and a tattered coat, he roams where no one takes much note. A shadow in the city's veins, a whisper lost in winter rains. No chapel roof, no fires glow, just alleys where the cold winds blow. But luck, it seems, in grime may gleam. He finds a place not built for dreams. A basement low, forgotten bare, with rusted pipes and musty air, where spiders weave and mildew clings, yet peace of sorts the shelter brings. No bed of silk, no table spread, just concrete ground to rest his head. But oh, the joy, no frostbite's kiss, no sleepless night in storm's abyss. The city groans above his head, while he below finds warmth instead. A broken lamp, a plastic chair, to him it feels like an answered prayer. He smiles through dirt and aching bones, grateful for those borrowed stones. For in this damp and dungy room he spared tonight the open gloom. And gratitude, like candlelight, flickers gently through the night. He's poor, alone, unseen by most, yet richer now than some might boast. Beautiful. Cheerio, Dick Fitzwell. That was fantastic. Oh my God. I'll tell you, him, Nigel Lennox, there's something in the family there, running through the family. Very, very wonderful. We have an email here from Ange. Ange is here. Her answer is $5 million is my answer, she says. $5 million. OAD says he'd be happy with, that's my dad. Ordinary average dad, your father says he'd be happy with 20 million. Holy Christ. He wants to give a bunch away, LOL. Oh, well, that's nice. Now that's different. If you have $20 million and you're very charitable, that would be, I think actual rich people are very charitable only because it's for tax reasons, right? They want to get somehow, screw us on the taxes. Let's just check the junk email. Nothing. Hi, I came across your website and noticed a few SEO issues that may be affecting your visibility on Google. Blah, blah, blah. Don't care. This one says your wallet is funded successfully with the balance of $981,531. See login details below as requested. Oh, should I click this link? Huh? Should I click it? Should I click it? No. God, people think I'm an idiot. That'd be pretty sweet, though. $980,000 in my bank account, just like that. Oh, man. No, thank you very much for the emails and the messages. I appreciate it. We have another question for you for the 10s and 10s. The question is, at what age did you finally holy shit, I'm old. I'm technically, I've not that you are an old person, but you've technically crossed over from being young. I know what's going on. I can figure out this computer software to till you don't know shit, right? At what age was that? For me, it's 37. 37 is the age for me, for this guy. 37. This summer was the first time where I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't freaking know what's going on at all, Dad. Nah, man. Can you imagine if I was younger and I knew what I was doing? Instead of 10s and 10s, I would have maybe have hundreds and hundreds of followers. Maybe. But who knows? Anyway, that is the episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. And we'll see you on the next episode. Later, Gator.